It takes only a single strike of steel on flint to produce a fine flame. It is obvious that this man was trying to shield the woman from harm. Unfortunately, he failed. This stone statue is that of quiet Phlius, cup-bearer of sweet wines, possessor of a lion's heart. Before Argonus can take another step, the Cyclops lumbers toward the sailor, blocking his way. A low growl flows from clenched teeth, its meaning clear. Do not approach the petrified juvenile. This juvenile was not immune to that which takes man and mystic creature alike. As soon as Argonus steps from the shadows, the daughters of Phorcys raise their heads, their shared eye sensing his presence. One of the Grey Witches lifts her frail arm and gestures. Immediately, the world begins to swim, and the sailor of the Argo finds himself elsewhere. Smoke pours from the kiln. Given time, the makeshift structure will yield a modest amount of charcoal. The great white horse recognizes Argonus, and within moments carries the sailor of the Argo over the gorge and into the grey skies above. The great white horse recognizes Argonus, and within moments carries the sailor of the Argo over the gorge and into the grey skies. Again and again, Argonus sets shovel to dirt, until all that remains are a number of coals. Its fiery work complete, nothing of import remains within this kiln. These coals are similar to those used to heat the stone forge of a blacksmith. These coals are similar to those used to heat the stone forge of a blacksmith. The great statue of Hades, god of the underworld, lies still and dormant. 'Tis reasonable that the Harpies would desire an apple such as this so fervently. Not only is the skin covered in golden flake, but the interior is assuredly a sweet morsel. Argonus takes a single cautious step forward before two eyes, set like burning coals, narrow and stop him cold. The Daimon's grotesque head regards the sailor.
Nay, Argonus, son of Argus, thou cannot pass beyond this threshold. So says Hades, lord of the underworld. For just as many legions doth serve me, and obey my will, so too Thanatos obeys the will of he who governs the dead.
The great statue of Hades stirs, as if waking from a long, deep slumber. The god of the underworld looks about before his gaze settles upon the sailor.
Argonus, son of Argus, the shipbuilder. I have heard your name spoken within the halls of Zeus, albeit in whispers, and even then through mediary. It is said that fair Athena herself has laid upon your frail shoulders a great burden. And while she charges you to seek out your comrades, I find it curious that the goddess of wisdom would care so much about that which Hades governs.
The god looks away, as if seeking something that even he cannot find.
I know a great many things, Argonus. I know when each soul departs this mortal coil. I know when they enter my realm, and I know on which dark river they set sail. However, what I do not know,
Hades says, his eyes once again turning toward Argonus,
is why the names of two sisters are also uttered high upon Olympus. There is an object, an orb that can grant me such an answer. Who would be my steward? Who would bring it here, to my temple, to me?
Without hesitation, Argonus nods. Pledge made, the god of the underworld stretches forth his hand, and a helm materializes before Argonus.
Take this helm of darkness. Wear it, and eyes will be blinded to you. Succeed in this boon, and I will provide you with something greater. A way forward where there was none. So says Hades, brother of Zeus and Poseidon, ruler of the dead.
And with that proclamation, the statue shifts once more and becomes silent. With the aid of Hades' gift, the Grey Eye are caught unawares as the smoke from the fire billows, carrying the potion within its grip. It takes naught but a few seconds for the witches to feel its effect, and one by one, they fall into a deep sleep. It is the all-seeing eye of the grey eye. Possessing such a thing shall surely lead one to ruin. It is obvious that the helm was given for a greater purpose, one that only the god Hades appears to fully comprehend. A large fire such as this offers comfort to those who sit about it. A simple concoction, thrown into the fire, has put the witches to sleep and rendered them powerless. Finely embroidered pillows rest upon an equally elegant rug. In preparation for a meal, 3 eels have been nailed to this rack. 'Tis fitting that an iron cauldron is found here, standing at the ready. A glass calcinator, such as this, is essential when one practices alchemy. One can only speculate the strange purpose of such an apparatus. Argonus holds out his hand, and the all-seeing eye of the grey eye rises. The god of the underworld stretches forth his arm, and light, not unlike that of a moonbeam, engulfs the sailor of the Argo. Argonus turns, and for the first time since setting foot upon this bedeviled isle, bears witness to his bane. With naught but a simple gaze, a woman, her hair like a nest of snakes, turns one of his shipmates into stone. The other creature, distraught, moves between the two, pleading.
Steno, this madness must end. How many more must perish to satiate your thirst for vengeance? Let us mourn our sister in peace. Let us return home.
A flash of anger crosses Steno's face as she moves within mere inches of her cowering sister.
Never, Euryale. There is no time to weep or wail, nor shall there be. Not as long as a single breath forms within my breast. The petty gods will pay. Wretched Athena will pay. From Hades' heart I will stab at them. For hate's sake, I shall drive my vengeance deep.
Steno moves toward the looming entrance within the mount, but not before she pauses. When shall my hate have its fill? When shall it be placated? The woman whispers, Never, Euryale. Never. And with that, Steno is gone, and Euryale obediently follows her sister into the darkness, into her madness. The vision falters, and the light that fell from the hand of Hades follows before fading completely. The god of the underworld takes measure of Argonus, and with a final nod, the statue moves no more, and the helm vanishes from sight. The eye of the grey eye moves within the saddle, as if trying to escape its bindings. The eye of the grey eye moves within the saddle, as if trying to escape its bindings. As Argonus slowly approaches the poisonous cloud, the daimon cocks his head, as if listening to a voice only one such as he can. Seconds pass before the beast turns his attention to the sailor trembling before him.
Never has there been a time when Thanatos was commanded to forsake those souls he was sent to gather. And yet, this is the will of Hades, the one to whom I am subject.
Once again, the daimon looks away before finally letting his dark gaze settle upon Argonus.
I fear this was brought to be by thine own hands, Argonaut. For without thy influence, the Lord of the Underworld would not hold me hands. If I am to go forth, one must take my place. For if I cannot harvest the souls of those who remain between life and death, then the son of Argus must suffice.
Thanatos lifts a claw into the air, and without further explanation, utters a single word.
Menas ignis.
Argonus screams as his hand is momentarily enveloped in flame. Just as quickly as it arrived, the pain passes. As the sailor looks upon his new hand in both horror and the daimon begins to dissipate, leaving only the smell of ash in its wake. Moments later, that too fades from this world. The air about Argonus suddenly grows heavy, and without warning, a rift opens, and the favored daughter of Zeus steps through. Athena smiles at the sailor. Well done and done, Argonus. You have proved yourself much more than a historian, much more than a simple sailor. And now, I sense in you a new thing, the goddess says, tilting her head. Do not withhold this gift from those who sailed blue seas and grey swells. Nor should you give up on your brethren, for while many have fallen, some still live. Again, I say to you, seek them out and save them. For the ones that have brought them low, you have now seen with your own eyes. Stheno and Euryale, creatures of madness and spite. Athena's eyes narrow as she speaks with great authority. Gird yourself for what is ahead, son of Argus. Do not grow weary, for fair Athena is with you, and a boat awaits. The goddess slowly nods her head, and without another word, is taken into the sky once more. 3 Harpies, their stench as foul as their temperament, circle endlessly in the skies above. The terror that has a grip on this island has easily overtaken this man. Wooden planks and animal skins do not a comfortable bed make. This appears to be a note written on fine parchment. The note reads, Celeus, the beast upon the hill must once again be appeased. Its appetite for riches is becoming insatiable. It is signed, Tallius. The poorly constructed shelf is laden with bottles, vases, and foodstuff. It appears that little time was spent in crafting this small table and accompanying chairs. Although no fire burns within, this clay stove is still warm to the touch. The great Phidias of Athens himself could not craft a sculpture so lifelike, yet lifeless. This boy was caught off guard and had little time to discern friend from foe. The chalky fleece of this ewe is wanting for a shearer's work. Book 3. Forges and Fire. Neither man nor woman is granted mercy from the scourge that stalks this isle. Wooden planks and animal skins. Do not a few uninteresting items rest upon this table. This wooden chest is adorned with silver embellishments and a simple keyhole. Based on his posture, it is obvious that the terror that haunts this isle caught this man by surprise. Without a sturdy hammer and tongs such as these, how would a smith bend iron and bronze to his will? Without a sturdy hammer and tongs such as these, how would a smith bend iron and bronze to his will? The name of this woman, or where she was returning from, will never be known. Some force, whether virtuous or malevolent, pulls at the eye of the witches. Under the watchful eye of the Cyclops, Argonus frees the soul of his friend, hoping the beast understands the sailor's intent. "'Tis a monstrous Cyclops. Many a tale has been told about these one-eyed creatures. This juvenile was not immune to that which takes man and mystic creature." Argonus approaches the petrified creature slowly, glancing back and forth between it and the adult Cyclops. When Argonus reaches the stone creature, he realizes that the adult not only witnessed him freeing the soul of the Argonaut, but must have grasped what could be done for his child. Raising his hand slowly, Argonus allows the power of the diamond to flow through him and into the young Cyclops. The adult begins to wail as the stone breaks, falling to the earth just as the soul of the beast rises and dissipates. His mission of mercy complete, Argonus turns toward the huge beast, his head low. The creature looks at him for a moment, before turning and slowly disappearing from sight. Cautiously, Argonus approaches the distraught Grey-Eye, their one eye held out before him, an olive branch extended. Before he can utter a single word, the orb is lifted from his palm, and moments later, gently comes to rest in old, gnarled hands. The sailor braces for retribution, but none appears. The seeresses merely sit in silence. Finally, the first speaks, her voice low and raspy.
"This we have not foreseen.
The second follows.
Stolen yet returned.
The third continues.
A quandary set before us. A wayward sailor? Athena's puppet? No, he is more than that."
The witches become quiet once again, staring into a fire that they cannot see, pondering the fate of an uncommon thief.
"We know not where this ends."
The first breaks the silence.
"We cannot stop it."
There's the second.
"Mayhap this one can,"
finishes the third. With that, the first Grey-Eye lifts her hand and slowly draws something in the air. The world around Argonus wavers, and he becomes a captive audience to words once spoken between goddess and mortal man.
Come, my lovely Medusa, lay with me again.
Oh, please, great Poseidon, I cannot. I am sworn in service to Athena. Oh no. No!
Poseidon, you dare defile what is mine? And here, in my sacred temple?
Mind thy tongue, Athena. Yes, the Lord of the Seas dares. But what of it? Nothing you can do can bring me Peter, hon.
Perhaps that is true. But the same cannot be said of this woman. My goddess, please. Forgive me.
Athena, no!
As the words fade from his ears, Argonus searches for the witches in vain, wondering how a simple sailor can bear witness to such past events. A large fire such as this offers comfort to those who sit about it. Finely embroidered pillows rest upon an equally elegant rug. The great white horse recognizes Argonus, and within moments carries the sailor of the Argo over the gorge and into the grey skies above. Argonus shows compassion for the poor creature, setting its soul free from the bewitchment that fell upon it. Poorly made wooden chairs frame an equally paltry table. It appears that little time was spent in crafting this small table and accompanying chairs. Only a few items remain on this small wooden shelf. The poorly constructed shelf is laden with bottles, vases, and foodstuff. This simple bronze key lacks any sort of embellishment. Wooden planks and animal skins do not a comfortable bed make. With a simple gesture, Argonus frees the soul of the animal from its stone prison. This statue appears to be under construction. Considering the dire circumstances, it may remain so indefinitely. "'Tis the faithful Argo, her weathered hull rent, her stalwart crew scattered, dead or lost to the endless sea. A faint melody can be heard as the sea wind blows past her figurehead. With a simple gesture, Argonus frees the soul of the animal from its stone prison. Argonus shows compassion for the poor creature, setting its soul free from the bewitchment that fell upon it.
Die! Die!
As the Hydra crumbles to the sod, the soul of the beast does not appear, nor does it succumb to Hades' call and depart to the underworld. By its nature, stone is hard. This one, however, is uncommonly so. Warm to the touch, it reverberates with a continuous pulse. The great white horse recognizes Argonus, and within moments carries the sailor of the Argo over the gorge and into the grey skies above. The beating of wretched black wings can be heard far overhead. These bellows are well crafted and certainly worthy of a smith's forge. The shape and color of this keystone is familiar, mirroring the one pulled from wet sand. The remains of baskets are strewn upon the rocks. Perhaps these once contained offerings meant to satiate the beast. The remains of baskets are strewn upon the rocks. Perhaps these once contained offerings meant to satiate the beast. The gaze from the griffin brings the sailor pause. Argonus slowly retreats, leaving the golden treasure be. Gold can be seen, scattered throughout this massive nest.
Come, Pellis. Sit by the fire. Do not tarry in darkness, as it is only shadows you chase.
Mayhap so, Nauplius. But is it not what is cloaked in shadows we seek? That which has brought all we know to ruin?
That I cannot say. Consider this. If fair Athena appeared before us, bestowing hope, would she not also offer protection?
I know not. All that is certain is that a fear grips my heart like no other. Athena's promises do little to...
Hold! What manner of creature are...
While this remnant has succumbed to wind and rain, it is unclear where the remainder of this massive statue resides. This appears to be nothing more than a simple basket, perhaps used in a religious ceremony. Young Hephaestus, aboard the Argo not but a fortnight, has succumbed to the very thing that has cursed this isle. Young Hephaestus, aboard the Argo not but a fortnight, has succumbed to the very thing that has cursed this isle. The keystone fails to set securely within the notched stone. A notch in the doorframe can be seen behind this large stone statue, but cannot be reached. Argonus puts his weight against the stone, but is unable to move the statue even a hand's breadth. Without warning, the Cyclops appears, his single eye moving back and forth between Argonus and the broken statue. The docile creature wraps its massive fingers around the stone fragment, and, with a grunt, moves in the The Cyclops, bellows at the sky before fixing its gaze on the historian. Argonus nods with understanding as the creature wanders away. The sailor's merciful boon has been paid back in full. The final keystone placed, a deep grinding fills the air, and heavy stone doors slowly open, revealing a dark passageway beyond. The surface of the stone shows circular impressions, but they are difficult to discern in this dim light. This sconce is filled with the same dark oil found within Unlike Hephaestus's forge, this sconce is fueled by a thick, black oil. Three Harpies, their stench as foul as their temperament, circle endlessly in the skies above. This stone is bereft of markings, offering no explanation for the small depression set into its surface. The yellow light it emits is curious. It would appear a piece of the forge is missing. Argonus sets the wool into the forge. It takes only a single strike of steel on flint to produce a fine flame. The flame within is still insufficient for the forging of metal. These bellows are well... Argonus squeezes the bellows repeatedly, fanning the flames of the forge until the coals blaze with an intense heat. While many ceremonies require flint and steel are inadequate to start a fire by themselves. A soft tinder is required to produce the flame. A strong, steady flame burns within the confines of the forge. These silver adornments have been left as an offering to the god Hephaestus. Deep scratches mar the top of this stone pedestal. The visage of Hephaestus, god of the forge, has been painstakingly carved into marbled stone. His mighty hammer looks powerful enough to destroy or break open almost anything. Marbled stone shifts as the spirit of Hephaestus enters the ornate statue shaped long ago by human hands. The god of the forge regards Argonus with unblinking eyes.
Who is this man before me? Surely not one who strikes the iron, nor one who stokes the fire. Nay.
The god continues, his brow furrowed.
They are no more, having fallen to that which fair Athena hath unleashed. Do not be deceived, sailor of the Argo. While it was Perseus's hand that sundered head from shoulders, the heart that drove the blade was assuredly that of the goddess.
Hephaestus pauses, deep in thought. When he speaks again, it is slow and measured.
I am loath to meddle in my sister's quarrels, either to directly help your quest to find your countrymen, or abate the scourge being wrought by the Gorgon's sisters. And yet, if you return the gold stolen from my temple, and tend my forge, I will grant you a light to drive away darkness.
The benevolent god nods before the statue becomes still once again.